Hey everybody, and welcome to episode number 30 of the Kickabout with me, Chris, and as always, Dan and Fran are with us.
Hi.
Episode number 30, guys. How time flies.
Yeah.
And only, another 5-6 weeks, and we can actually see each other again.
Oh my God.
The season will be finished.
I was going to say, the season will be over.
Yeah, just as we get to see each other again, then we'll be sort of saying, right, guys, we'll see you in the summer. Right, so as always, then we got straight into it. We obviously do have a guest tonight. We've got Ben, who's joined us from the Lads to Dads podcast that we shouted out earlier on in the series. He is a Liverpool fan, so that should be some interesting conversations later on. But as always, let's dive straight into this. Down the stat, man.
So I was going to go for a Liverpool one, but I think that would just be rubbing salt in the wound. So I've done one for the Arsenal fans this week. Only one other player has reached 50 Premier League appearances for Arsenal at a younger age than Saka. Can you tell me who that was?
I'm not even sure I know how old Saka is.
He is 19 years and 182 days.
Okay. All right. Well, as always, we'll get the answer to that later on in the show. And let's jump straight into some Premier League chat then. So we're going to start with the big game of the weekend, which was the Manchester derby. It feels like we're talking about United a lot recently. They keep giving us good content for a start because there's always something to talk about. But equally, do you know what? The games recently, I don't know if you guys have been feeling this, but the games recently haven't been as exciting as they were maybe at the start of when lockdown football came in. There's a lot more lower scoring games recently. I don't know if it's just the way the fixtures have panned out that there's just not as many exciting games going on. I don't know.
I think it's probably fatigue.
Yeah, that could be a big thing.
Because we sort of saw it at the end of last season, didn't we, when we sort of came back from lockdown. I don't think there were sort of very many high-scoring games. I think everyone's just knackered.
Everyone just wants it to stop now.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we will start, as I say, at the Manchester derby at the Etihad. And Man United, they ended City's 28-game unbeaten run in all competitions, 21 wins in a row, I think, or 21 games unbeaten, for Manchester City in the Premier League. The lead has been cut to 11 points. Is this a turning point for United?
Yeah, I don't think it was ever in doubt, really, was it?
You were going to win. I don't know if turning point is the right word because you're second in the league.
Yeah, I don't think it's a turning point because we sort of have these games, especially Ollie has a knack for when he starts to sort of become under pressure. He has a knack for just turning it around and beating someone like City who went 28 games unbeaten. So it's just typical Ollie, really. Is that what United need? Do they need somebody just in there, just hurling abuse at Ollie all the time, saying, you're going to get sacked in the morning, you're going to get sacked in the morning? Yeah, I think so. I think the board needs to just sort of slip that P45 under his door.
Just sort of halfway through. Like, if it goes all the way through, you're actually taking it. Because only halfway through, it's just a little warning.
After each win, it slowly retreats.
But no, it kind of felt like a very classic United performance because obviously you have been quite poor recently, as we talked about. You've dropped points against sides that realistically you should be beating, and it just makes you wonder that if you had picked up wins against West Brom, Palace, Sheffield United, how close would this gap be with City if you'd won all those games and then won here?
Yeah, I mean, you could, when we drew 0-0 with Chelsea, I was annoyed, but at the same time, you can't really be annoyed because, a point against Chelsea is a good point. The frustrating thing is dropping points against the likes of West Brom, Sheffield, because they should be your easy 3-pointers. You shouldn't even have to think like there's a chance we could lose this, especially with Sheffield at the time. I mean, they're still obviously not performing great, but back when we did lose to them, they were shocking.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Do you think this was a case of just City playing into your hands a little bit? Early on in the season, we've said throughout Manchester United season, to be fair, that against the big six, they've been very, very defensive. They've got into the games thinking we mustn't lose. And even City, the first time around at Old Trafford, they very much didn't come at United in the way that City would usually do. And I appreciate at the time their confidence wasn't flowing and they weren't in the middle of this massive unbeaten run that they were at the weekends. But I feel like in this game, City, obviously with that confidence flowing, had this kind of, we're good enough to beat anyone type attitude. And because they opened up and they weren't quite at the races, Man United just thought, right, here we go. This is us now. This is where we excel. And the counter-attacking was perfect.
Well, I think the early goal helped us out to no end, to be honest, because it forced City to attack us, which plays into our style of football, hands down. That's what we need to beat teams. We need them to attack us so we can counter-attack. And as soon as we got that early goal, it forced City to attack us throughout the entire game.
I must admit, alarm bells were ringing with me when you got the penalty so early, because I WhatsApped you, didn't I? I said, don't forget the Spurs game. You got this penalty very early. But no, credit to United. They dug in, they made it hard. They did look really dangerous on the counter-attack as well. And if it wasn't for a combination of some poor finishing and some good saves, that could easily have been a 3 or a 4-0.
Yeah, to be fair, it could have gone either way, really. City missed quite a few.
True. Yeah.
Sort of half chances. And Martial missed one that he really should have scored. So, it could have been 3-3, could have been 3-0 to either team. Easily could have gone either way.
Yeah. One player in particular who's impressed again was Luke Shaw. How good has he been for the last few months for United? He's probably been their best player, you would say.
Yeah, well,
remember when you hated him?
Yeah.
Did you call him Timmy? Chubby Timmy.
Yeah.
You were like, at the start of the season, Dan was genuinely like, get him off the pitch. Look at him now.
Yeah, well, he's proved me wrong. I'll hold my hands up. I don't think it's far to say that he's the best left back in the Premier League at the moment.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah.
It's come full circle. On that point, would you say that he's currently England's best choice for left back with the Euros in a few months?
100%. I would be amazed if Southgate picked anyone else to start. Probably Ben Chilwell. He's been playing there more often, and then he's been playing Trippier at left back as well. But if he doesn't pick Luke Shaw at left back, I'd be pretty amazed, to be honest, with the season he's had.
Yeah, no, I would as well. And Ben Chilwell, since Tuchel's come in, he hasn't been regularly playing because he seems to be, or certainly has played Alonso at left back a little bit as well. So Chilwell's not getting as much football, and I certainly don't think he's played well. He's had a decent season, but Luke Shaw is his head and shoulders above him, in my opinion, at the moment.
Has Trippier been playing? What I know.
I don't really know. I don't really follow the La Liga that much, to be honest.
No, I can't say as I do. I know he was quite well regarded. Was it last season? The first season he went out there after he moved from.
Was he not banned?
Did he? It was a betting ban or something, wasn't it?
I think he's back.
Was he?
I think he's playing again. He puts pictures on his Instagram of him playing. So.
I'm not sure. I don't really follow it that much.
I'm just looking on the Sky Sports stats. So he has played 21 games this year, with 0 substitute appearances. So he is playing a good number of games still for Atletico Madrid.
Oh, okay.
But how well he's playing or not, I don't know. Obviously the Spanish league is quite close. Atletico Madrid are currently top, so it's you would suggest he's probably having a good season if the rest of the team are doing that well. But just on the point about players who've been impressing. And talk about Bruno Fernandes. Now, Mika Richards further cemented both mine and Dan's opinion of him that he's an absolutely shocking pundit and he's only good for banter with Roy Keane, which, whilst entertaining, shouldn't mean he keeps getting primetime slots for the games on Sky and Match Today, in my opinion. But he said, and I quote, people keep talking about Bruno Fernandes and how he's not turning up in big games. And he's like, well, he scored a penalty here. So I'm just thinking to myself, what? So scoring an uncontested shot from 12 yards is now what we class as turning up in big games. Yeah. On the performance side of things, I did think Fernandes had a very good game at the weekend, and he has come in for some criticism. So do you think there's an element of, he when he celebrated, he put his hands over his ears and he was asked about that celebration at the end, and he sort of referred to the sucking the thumb bit about something to do with his kids, but I don't think he really talks about why he covered his ears. And I just wonder if that's because of the criticism he's been getting.
Most likely, yeah. I'm sure I'm sure he's been reading about it. I don't think he's completely in the dark about it. But I think the way the game played out, it helped Bruno because it was a bit more of an open game. It wasn't just sat back and defending the entire time like it has been against the other sort of top teams. So yeah, I think you have to have like a proper knowledge of football to understand why Bruno hasn't been performing against the top six. It's easy to just say, oh yeah, he's been crap, but unless you really sort of analyze the games and see why he's not been playing, yeah.
I mean, the only player in those other games we talked about against those big teams, the only one who's you would argue has turned up is probably Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
Defensively, you've been reasonably solid against those teams. Evidenced in the fact that you've not conceded many goals, but because of that negative mentality, it's stifled the attacking side of the game, which is obviously where Hernandez is at his best. So yeah, I agree with you. It's a very short-sighted and ill thought out opinion of Hernandez to just blame him, saying he's not turning up in big games when, frankly, not many of the rest of the team are. But again, that's down to the tactics deployed. But one other player I just wanted to touch on was Anthony Martial. Now he had a better game by his recent standards. I'll give him that. Gary Neville on comms said this is the Martial that you don't sell. And I'll be honest, whilst he was much more positive, he was much more energetic. He obviously still wasted one glorious chance that I can think of. I think he may have had one other. But I just wonder, is being more energetic suddenly for the first time in quite some time enough for Ollie and maybe Man United fans to sort of turn around their opinion of him and think about keeping him?
For me, I just, if he was a new player, let's say if he was sort of Timo Werner, I think you say, it's his first season, give him a chance. But we've had Martial for quite a long time now. Last season, he was great. And you need to build on it. You can't go back to scoring under 10 goals a season. So, yeah, for me, I don't know. I don't want to sell him because I do think he's a good player, but it's a bit like Pogba. You never know what player you're going to get turn up.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like, when people talk about the energetic and positive performance, I'm thinking that for a club like United and for a player of Martial's obvious quality, because we know there's a player in there, just doesn't seem to come out very often, a little bit like Pogba. You just think that should be a minimum. That should be, the basic of what you expect from a player of his quality to at least put in the energy. But it just often he just portrays a man who's just sort of letting, the game is passing him by.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think it is just his sort of natural facial expression, but he just always looks like he's giving crap.
Yeah, he always looks like he's just spotted the guy who's nicked his wallet. You know what I mean? He's always got a bit of a vindictive look on his face.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'll just on the topic switching to Ollie, talking about the players that he's going to keep. I know you mentioned to me that you'd got one or two comments about your analogy of the wheels falling off the bus. And the more I think about that analogy, I just love the thought of all these poor performances and the wheels beginning to fall off. And Ollie just sort of pulls the bus over just before he gets to the Etihad, jacks the car up, sorts the wheels out, screws them on nice and tight, gets to 2-0 win at City, and then looks at the bus and just nods and says, yeah, that should hold for a few more months.
It's like gaffer tape. He just carries gaffer tape around with him. How many times have you done it though, where we've all been saying, he's close to being, not that I don't think he was close to being sacked, but how many times have we sort of said, things are really going wrong, and then all of a sudden he'll pull off like a win against City or a win against PSG, etc.
Yeah, he has an unbelievable knack for it. I mean, he's been with United, 2.5 years now, I think it is.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how long it is, but as you say, on numerous occasions, the wheels, because everyone keeps saying about Ollie at the wheel, that's the saying. I think Rio Ferdinand coined that expression, if I remember rightly. But
yeah.
You're absolutely right. Like, there's so many times where other managers would have been sacked for the run of form and the way they were playing, and then all of a sudden they're on a 6-match winning streak and everything's rosy again. And it's almost making Ollie unsackable because at some point he's going to turn it around. And there are a lot, as much as there's a lot of negatives about Ollie, there are a lot of managers out there who really struggle to sort their teams out when things are going badly and when the form is down. But credit to Ollie, he seems to sort it out every time.
Yeah, he does. And I don't really want to commend the board too much, but you've got to say fair play to the board for not having the urge to sack him. I don't know if that is smart on their behalf or if it is naive on their behalf. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's lucky that it's turned out the way it has, or if it, it has, or they have trusted in him and it's worked. I don't know. Could go either way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously no one's got a crystal ball here, but you have to say that they are giving Ollie enough time to cement his own, not legacy, that's the wrong word, but his own play style, his own tactics, his own squad. Not a lot of managers get that these days, especially at a club with such a high profile as United. A lot of managers often are not given that time, and often Lampard at Chelsea, for example. He bought all these players in and then wasn't really given the chance to sort of properly make it work. Whereas Solskjaer now hasn't quite got the exact team that he wants, but he's certainly got a number of players that he wants. He has spent money and it's reaping rewards. I mean, Solskjaer is the first manager in United's history to win each of his first 3 away meetings in all competitions with Man City. He's the only manager that Guardiola has lost to more than he's beaten. Guardiola has lost 4 times to Solskjaer and only beaten him 3 times. I mean, those stats, that's pretty impressive.
Best manager in the world.
And United also are unbeaten in their last 103 Premier League away games. Sorry, is that away games or is that just 103 Premier League games when they've led at half time? So they've won 91 and drawn 12 of the games where they have been leading at half time. And their last defeat came under Louis van Gaal, September 2014, in a 5-3 loss to Leicester.
Wow.
That's some record. But let's talk about Man City quickly. Barring a very large collapse, they're still going to win the league. Do you think this game sort of serves as a nice reminder to them that they're not invincible and it's just almost like a bit of a wake-up call?
Yeah, I think so. I think especially with it being a derby, City will be hurting from that.
I wouldn't say a wake-up call though. Like, they weren't bad. If anything, they just weren't getting the ball in the net. They had so many chances.
But it's a wake-up call to be more clinical.
Yeah, for sure. But I wouldn't say it's like, oh my God, they got absolutely smashed. They had a really bad game. Because I actually think they had a really good game.
Yeah, and they saw a lot of the ball, which they're going to have, even if they're not playing brilliantly, they're still going to see a lot of the ball. And as you say, if Sterling could finish, then the game could have been differently. And he is struggling. I mean, can you believe he's gone 23 games without scoring against United in his career?
Really? Wow.
So he's faced United on 23 occasions in his career and he has not scored once. And I don't know what it is. He's just got this, it's just not happening for him. But another player who's also struggling is Gabriel Jesus. Do you think he was a bit too hyped for this game? Do you think, giving away a penalty inside a minute?
I really don't understand that tackle either. I mean, City had like 6 players there. I don't know why he thought he had to get involved.
No, and look at the players that are around him. I mean, he had like the 2 centre-backs. He had Rodri around him. He had nowhere to go. He was running into a brick wall, effectively. And
he's a player out of form.
Yeah, exactly. Let him shoot. Exactly. He's going to give you the ball back.
Yeah.
And it was the most clumsy, sort of stereotypical striker tackle you're ever going to see. And I look at Jesus and I just look at a striker that's just, I don't know. I don't think he's good enough for City. I think he is going to get replaced in the summer.
Yeah, and what surprised me was that I can't remember if he did come on or not, but the fact that Aguero wasn't used even in the later stages. I don't know if he came on at all in the end.
He subbed on Foden for Jesus.
Yeah. Foden came on and some other came on, but yeah, I'm pretty sure Aguero didn't.
Yeah, obviously, I know that he's had his injury problems and that, but I still consider him a world-class striker. So is that almost sort of saying his time is at an end as well?
Yeah, I mean, obviously last week against West Ham, he was very, very off the pace. So maybe Guardiola's just thinking about, they've got Southampton next, for example. So, perhaps he's thinking, let's leave him for a game like that where less pressure on the game, Manchester derby, I don't know. But City have spent big in almost every other area of their team, but it's been a long time since they've invested heavily in an out-and-out striker. And with, as you say, with Aguero's future up in the air, with Jesus not showing any signs of being a long-term solution, I just wonder if this summer is the time that we can expect them to go big for a new striker.
I'd be surprised if they didn't go for Haaland, to be honest. So I don't think there'll be too much competition for him. Dortmund will probably want the money. I feel like this would be the best time to get him as cheap as they could get him. Not that he'll be cheap, it'll still be like 100 million, but I think if they were to wait until sort of after COVID, and other teams start to get the money. If they go into a bidding war with likes of Real Madrid, etc., they could be paying up to 150 million. So.
Yeah, I mean, and Barcelona have got no money. They're in serious financial trouble. Messi will leave Barcelona one way or the other this season. I think I cannot see him taking a new contract unless they sell a lot of their players to make up his wages, or Messi takes a massive pay cut. So, do you think there's still a chance we might see Messi at City, or do you think that sort of boat has sailed?
I don't think he'll go to City. I don't think he would cope in the Premier League personally. And I just don't. It would be nice. I'd love to see him in the Premier League. For me, I don't know if it feels like a bit of a pointless try. It'd just be so much money. I don't know how long you would get out of him? Maybe like a year, maybe 2 if you're lucky. I think he'll go to PSG, play in the farmers market with the likes of Kane and Mbappe.
Yeah, I mean, Messi's 33. He'll be 34 in June. So, he is in the twilight years of his career. And if he comes to the Premier League, obviously the big thing, with this battle with him and Ronaldo about who's meant to be the greatest, etc. Ronaldo has been in different leagues and has performed everywhere, whereas Messi's obviously been the one club man. And, that's not a negative for him. That's something to be to congratulate him on, because he's had a huge amount of success there. He's broken records, etc. But if he comes to your City and it doesn't work out for him, I can see what's going to happen is that people are going to jump on that. Oh yeah, well he can't do it in the Premier League and Ronaldo did. So I think, I personally think Messi coming to the Premier League would be a mistake for him. I think if he was to come to the Premier League, he should have done it when he was more in his prime, sort of mid to late 20s. But that was when Barcelona were in their prime as well, so that was never going to happen.
Yeah, and I mean, Ronaldo came to United when he was like 17, 18. Obviously, if Messi comes at 33, 34, I don't think you can really compare the sort of two scenarios. But people would still try and compare the two.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think any sensible person won't. Any sensible person will know that the comparison is unfair at best. But as you say, there will be a lot of people out there who will use it as a drum to beat for their personal favourites. Right, let's move on. Let's talk about Burnley against Arsenal. I'd just like to take a moment to pay our respects to Lacazette. Just take a listen to this. Truly distressing scenes.
It's a world record, Ian, isn't it?
That was, of course, the awful scenes where Lacazette was shot and killed at Burnley. But thankfully, he got better and he was able to carry on. And also, you heard Match of the Day, they're doing their bit of banter. And for Match of the Day to get involved with banter on that level, it's got to be stupid.
Yeah. I mean, it's not even if the stadium's loud, so you have to do it so the ref can hear you over the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Dyche was also very critical. He sarcastically said in his post-match interview that the screaming was on point today. There was some really good screaming out there today. But on a serious point, this is a form of cheating, right? I mean, he's play acting. He's trying to con everyone into thinking he's been seriously hurt by Eric Peters, which can only be to try and get him carded or even sent off. So should we take a dimmer view on this sort of thing, because we're always hot on diving and all this other thing, but this sort of thing just kind of gets brushed off and laughed about. Should we take it more seriously?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not really any different to diving, is it? I mean, if it's a foul, it's a foul. It's a bit like Neymar when he did like 20 rolls along the pitch. It's just unnecessary.
Yeah, but to the game itself, it was a good point for Burnley. It was an incident packed match. Firstly, a calamitous own goal which equalised for Burnley. Xhaka's not. He's not a fan of Turf Moor. He's not had a lot of good memories there. And whilst he didn't put the ball in the back of the net himself, he might as well have done.
Yeah.
Can anybody explain to me what was going through his head when he thought he would take that pass on his weaker foot?
Well, I mean, he could have done 100 different things, and I don't know, unless he was just looking down at the ground the entire time. Surely he would have seen him stood there. And you're taught in like kids football, don't kick it across your goal.
Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, I personally, the guy who scored, Chris Wood, there's something about him that makes me really angry in the way he always looks, the look on his face. But I do like him as a footballer. I think he's a proper old school forward. And I've got to say, part of me kind of respects the shithousery that he went and celebrated the goal like he meant it.
It was that like shrug of his shoulders, except that he kept doing us like, oh.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, meant it. That sort of look, wasn't it? The next controversial moment was the penalty that wasn't given for Arsenal when the ball hit Eric Peters' arm. What do we think on this one?
Yeah, I think that one was. I'm trying to think. I watched it live. I didn't watch any of the highlights.
So it was where Pepe had the ball and he sort of like tried to flick it round the corner. I think Pepe was already in the midst of claiming handball for the split second earlier.
Oh yeah, it was. The first one wasn't, but the second one should have been, wasn't it?
Yes, Peter's arm was at a sort of 90-degree angle away from his body, so you would argue that it was in an unnatural position, and yet it wasn't given. And I'm just thinking of some of the other handballs that have been given, and I can't understand how this one wasn't.
Well, I think they keep changing the rules like mid-season, don't they? Rather than sort of waiting until the end of the season and making a rule change, they just keep changing stuff as it happens. So you can't really keep up with the rules. I don't know whether the referees are told or whether they just hear it on BBC News.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, the Fulham incident, I think it was last weekend, where they had a goal ruled out for an accidental handball. So the rule was that if an accidental handball, or if a handball, accidental or not, had occurred in the direct build-up to a goal, the goal would be chalked off. But the rule was never applied the other way round to a defender. So if a defender accidentally handballed it in the box or whatever, a penalty was never given unless it, was intentional, whatever the bloody rule is at the time. But they've now changed that rule to say that an accidental handball that leads to a goal scoring chance or a goal for a teammate will no longer be penalised. And you kind of think to yourself, you're just changing that off the back of one incident that's happened with Fulham. Why didn't you change that earlier on in the season when there were more examples of that? And now Fulham are in this situation where if this happens to, say, Newcastle or Brighton or Burnley, and they benefit from this, and, this could, I know it's a cliche to say that decision could cost them relegation because across a long season, they've had plenty of opportunities to get other points. But the point still remains that, the goalposts have been changed. They've changed the ruling that now directly goes against Fulham.
Yeah, I mean, it is a bit of a kick in the teeth. It's as if they've sort of given Fulham a square ball to play with, and then they've gone, oh, actually, that's quite difficult to play with. We'll give everyone else round balls.
Yeah, no, it's exactly that. So I just don't understand what I found. I mean, the really scary thing about that situation, there was also a little bit of a report that came out from FIFA about their views on VAR. Apparently FIFA, breaking news, are extremely happy with VAR.
They have to keep.
How is that possible? It's mind-boggling that everybody in football, pundits, players, managers, fans, are all critical of VAR, and FIFA are just like, yeah, it's all right. We think it's working really well.
It's probably because they've pumped so much money into it, they can't really sort of turn back now and sort of say, oh yeah, it's not worked out. I think they're just going to keep pursuing it until it either gets to breaking point or they do fix it. But I just can't see them ever fixing it. I don't understand is how, us three can sit here and point out obvious flaws and everybody else agrees with the exact same flaws, but the people in charge of it don't see it until it's too late.
Right. Do you know what? I'm going to have to do a retraction here. The handball rule I've just seen is likely to be introduced from the 1st of July. So it's going to remain a handball offence if a player scores accidentally with their hand or arm. I've just read it here.
So it's not come into play yet.
So it's not come into play yet. I must admit, from the way I read it the first time round, it sounded like they brought it in straight away.
I thought they had as well, actually.
But yeah, I've just changed it. But on the reason I carried on reading this while you were saying that, it was there's also been some consideration to offside laws that potentially, again, are going to come in the summer. So Arsene Wenger has proposed that a player should be considered onside if any part of their body that can legally score a goal is level with the second last defender. FIFA will also continue to test semi-automated technology to detect offside, whereby a signal is sent to the assistant referee almost instantly. I mean, we're almost at the point, if we're doing that do we even need assistant referees? But what do you make of that? Do you think that that's a positive change for the offside, or do you think that we're still going to have these ridiculously close decisions? It's just going to be a case of, is a part of their body in line or not in line, if that makes sense with the current ruling?
I feel like they're making it so much more difficult than it needs to be honest. I feel like it's a very simple rule, and they're just making it very, very difficult.
So how would you change the current rule? What would be your sort of hard and fast rule on offside if it were up to you?
In my opinion, any part of the body you can score. So if someone's outstretched arm, they're pointing towards the goal, that doesn't count. It should be up to the shoulder. So any of your arm doesn't count. I mean, I'm inclined to say it should just be the legs because it's all to do with sort of running through. I don't even know if your head should be offside. But, to keep it simple, maybe we should say any part of the body you can score with. So if your head is off, then you're off. But I think the attacker should maybe be given the benefit of the doubt. I don't think it should be, if your toenail's offside, then you're offside. I think it should just be, I don't know. It doesn't need to be that difficult. It should be sensible, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think the whole thing about which part of the arm, like if it's the top half of the upper arm, I think that's just lunacy to try and go to that level of granularity with the offside rule. But I kind of like the idea, and I don't know whether it would work, but I kind of like the idea of having thicker lines. So when they do this stuff, where they put the lines down next to the player to determine who's off, when he's offside or not, I like the idea of having the line that links up with where the defender is to be a lot thicker, and therefore allow an element of leeway either way. I don't know how that would work in principle, but it does mean that some of these ridiculously marginal decisions would get given in the attacker's favour.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know how that would work in principle or in reality, but I think that's potentially one thing they could look at. But anyway, let's get back to the Burnley Arsenal game. We'll talk about Eric Peters again, who seemingly was involved in everything worth talking about in this game. After he killed Lacazette, after he should have given away a penalty, he then almost scored an absolute worldie. Did you see this 35-yard volley?
Yeah, I did.
But, I mean, I don't think he scores many goals, but had that one have gone in, I think I would probably retire if that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good save. The overall relegation picture right now, I mean, Fulham's win over Liverpool, which we'll obviously talk about later on with Ben when he gets on the show. I mean, that result has massively changed things. I mean, Fulham have obviously upped their game recently. They've been playing a lot better. They're actually the 5th best form side in the league right now. They're 18th on 26 points. Burnley are 15th with 30 points. And you've got Newcastle and Brighton in the middle with 27 and 26 respectively, who both have a game in hand. I mean, all of a sudden, Burnley and Brighton, who a few weeks ago, we kind of said on the show that they were probably far enough away now that they would keep pulling away. All of a sudden, they're now in serious trouble again.
Yeah, I think they've put themselves in danger. Although Fulham have been playing very well to climb back out, I think Burnley, Brighton and Newcastle have all put themselves in that position unnecessarily.
Yeah, and Burnley's form is not actually that bad. They've only lost 1 in the last 6, but they keep drawing. They're not picking up wins. Brighton have lost their last 3. They've only won 1 of the last 6. Newcastle have only lost 1 of the last 6 and drawn 2. So when you compare that to Fulham, they've got 3 wins in the last 6, 2 draws and 1 loss. So, they keep up that sort of form and Fulham are going to survive.
Yeah, I mean, I do feel bad for Brighton because they've actually been playing very good football. They've just not been getting the results.
Yeah, very much so. And who do you think, I know it's all point in time stuff again, but this could very well go down to the wire. Goal difference could come into it. But if we're assuming that Sheffield United are gone and that West Brom are almost certainly gone, who do you think is likely to go down from sort of Burnley, Newcastle, Brighton and Fulham?
To be fair, I think, the form Fulham are showing, I can see them potentially surviving if they keep going the way they're going.
I agree.
And out of the ones to go down, I think it's probably between Newcastle and Brighton. I don't know who I would say. If Newcastle had a fully fit team, I would say they were probably safe. But with the injuries they've got, they're very much in danger. And Brighton, the way they play football, I think, obviously they got a result against Liverpool, so they can do it. They're just not getting the results at the moment. So, I mean, a win could then send them on a run of form, a bit like Fulham. So I couldn't really call it, but I could see Fulham surviving.
Yeah, it is so close, and with the form so tight as well, I think, as you say, 1 or 2 wins could be enough just for teams to get enough breathing space that it then puts the onus back on the teams below them, and they may not be able to pick up enough points. But at the moment, I can definitely see Fulham surviving. We'll obviously talk about them a little later, but I thought they played brilliantly at the weekend. I've watched 1 or 2 of their games recently where I thought they were very, very good. They were unlucky against Palace, the better team there, but just couldn't score. But we shall see. Just quickly on Arsenal before we move on. They're stuttering again, aren't they? 38 points, sitting in 10th. Not sort of showing the sort of form right now that's going to get them involved in the European picture at all. Do you think they'll come up short this year for Europe?
Yeah, I mean, I really can't see them finishing in a Europa League spot, let alone a Champions League. I definitely don't think they'll finish Champions League.
But do you not think that all they need is like a run of wins?
But I just don't see them getting a run of wins. They're so inconsistent. I just can't see them finishing the Europa League. And maybe that'll be good for them in a way next year because they could just concentrate on the league. But I don't know, would the likes of Aubameyang, etc., want to stay with them not even being in the Europa League?
No,
I don't know.
Surely not.
Well, I mean, he signed the new contract earlier this season, so it's going to cost somebody to come in and take him. If he looked at that as when he signed that contract, he must have known that there was a chance that Arsenal weren't going to be, Champions League contenders, etc. So he must have had a thought in his mind that if I sign this contract, the chances of me being able to leave, given the wages I'm on and the money it's going to cost somebody to come in and take me, I might be stuck here. But he may really enjoy playing for Arsenal. He may not be about Europe and Champions League, who knows? But I just wonder with Arsenal, Arsenal fans are going to give me pelters for this, but do we just need to accept now that Arsenal are just an average team in the Premier League?
I thought with the signings they made at the start of the season, they would sort of kick on and challenge for the Champions League this season. But I mean, they've been even worse than last season. I didn't think that was possible.
I mean, they are capable of putting in good performances. We've seen several of those this season. I mean, I think to the game they played against. Bloody hell, who was it? Might have been Chelsea, actually, where they had a really, really good game. So they are capable of doing it. But overall, across the season, I think the league position right now actually kind of represents my opinion on that team as a whole and that squad and the manager and what's going on there.
Yeah, and like I said, it's inconsistency. And they're losing, and obviously losing points anyway to a lot of the teams that are lower down. That again, like I said, like United should be beaten. Because I mean they beat United, but it's the teams like Burnley where they should be picking up 3 points, but they're not.
Yeah, no, I agree. So, yeah, Arsenal got some work to do if they want to get in the Europa League. They are 7 points off of 7th place, which is currently West Ham. I don't know what the score is between West Ham and Leeds right now, but West Ham have got 2 games in hand. So depending on how that plays out, they could move up. But, yeah, Arsenal have got some serious work to do if they want to get into European places. Let's talk. Our last Premier League game that we'll talk about before the break is another relegation 6-pointer, a game that unfortunately will not live long in the memory. And it was a game where both teams could not afford to not get 3 points, and it ended up with neither of them getting 3 points. And I feel like this was probably more damaging for West Brom than Newcastle. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. Although more damaging, but at the same time equally damaging, if that makes any sense. I think I feel like both teams went into the game, again, trying not to lose rather than sort of really going for those 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, obviously West Brom need the points because, well, they need the points. They need to at least mount an attempt to get out. But Newcastle obviously need the points because of what Fulham are currently doing, in that third trapdoor that they could easily slip into. And it just feels to me at the moment that Newcastle are just sleepwalking towards the drop at the moment. I mean, we had Shearer, Josh, on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he was very fearful for Newcastle not to have the goal threats of Callum Wilson. They've now got St. Maximin out, Almiron is out, and both of them are out until April. I just don't see who's getting goals in this team.
I like that you just clarified that it was Josh, not Alan.
Yeah, so I thought we had Alan Shearer.
Well, we're quite big time now. We've reached 30 episodes. People could easily appreciate that we get someone like Alan Shearer on.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for Newcastle, isn't it, really, at the moment?
Yeah, they've had some big injuries, especially St. Maximum. As soon as he comes back and starts to put a good run of games together, he gets injured again.
Yeah, and I looked at the fixtures for Newcastle, and I'm thinking, there's a number of games that Newcastle have got left, where you think, you know what, they can get results there. They're playing a lot of teams in and around them in the league. I think they've got Fulham last game of the season. But again, because they don't have any real goal scorers in their team, I'm thinking, actually, even if those games, are the relegation 6 pointers that they probably will be, your strike force is, at the moment, unless I'm missing anyone, is Dwight Gale, Andy Carroll, and Joe Linton, and all of them are not goal scorers really this season at the moment. So Newcastle are in serious trouble.
Yeah, there was a moment where Joe Linton, and I can't remember who else was up with him, but it was sort of two Newcastle players on one or two West Brom players, and Joe Linton, if he'd have played the ball slightly in front with his cross, they would have most likely won that game. It was just a bit of a lazy pass.
Yeah, and that kind of sums up Joe Linton as a player, really. Just a lot of gusto, a lot of effort, but just no real quality. And to couple all the injury problems that they've had, we're now hearing these stories of dressing room unrest at Newcastle. There's apparently leaks happening. There's a leak within the club, and things are leaving the camp that shouldn't be leaving the camp. There's been a bus stop between Matt Ritchie and Steve Bruce. This is not what you want to hear. You do not want to have dressing room unrest when you're in a relegation fight.
No, not at all.
So, the game itself, from West Brom point of view, is, as I say, full of endeavour. It was actually played at a good pace, because I thought, I'm going to watch this game because I feel like this could be a decent game to watch, because both teams have got to win this. This could be a massive pivotal game. And it took me ages to work out where it was, because I didn't realise it was on Amazon. And I was going through all the channels. I was like, okay, it's not on BT Sports, it's not on Sky Sports. It must be on BBC then. I went to BBC, no. And then eventually I worked it out. And the game itself, I did put this on social media, but it was summed up most by the commentators, where Clive Tildesley said, where will Match the Day pencil this one in for the running order? And Alan McCoy just went Tuesday. It was very poor, but West Brom are showing signs of life. They can't finish teams off, which is something Allardyce alluded to in his interview. Do you give them any hope? 8 points off safety at the moment?
I'd never rule any team out, because we, right at the start of the season, you and Fran were saying City probably wouldn't do it this year, and I
don't know what you're talking about. I don't recall that. Do you, Fran?
Hey. I did not say that.
It's making stuff up, Dan.
See, I'd never say never to any team, but I think it's going to be very tough for West Brom. I don't think they've got the quality to do it.
No. And the problem is that at this stage of the season, with 10 games to go, 8 points is a lot, purely because the teams above them are almost certainly going to be picking up points as well. So draws are not going to cut it. They have got to win games to stand any chance. So, Allardyce's record of never getting relegated is in serious question. Right, okay, let's head to a break. When we come back, we'll get Ben on the show. We'll talk all things Liverpool and what's currently going on there, and then we'll have Football with Fran, where I will be taking on the guest this week. See you in a minute. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the show. Before we go in and introduce Ben to the show, let's talk about what the listeners have been saying this week. So this week we asked about who the most underrated player in the league was after last week's massive response to the overrated player. So Fran, what's everyone been saying this week?
So this week, the lovely Pete commented saying, Fofana for Leicester has been brilliant up to his injury, and asked Dan what he thought about Big Man Fred. What are your thoughts, Dan?
I did reply. You can read out my reply.
Daniel, hold on, your message is missing. There's one missing from you.
Well, I just said, was he joking about saying Fred?
Oh, okay. And then Pete said, this is why he's an underrated player, because some don't see what he brings compared to someone else. Fofana
Mhm.
is the best
Fofana, yeah.
this season. Dan, I would have to very respectfully disagree with you. I don't think Fred is a good CDM at all. Off the ball, he's pretty good position-wise. Doesn't get caught out of possession too often and does get stuck into tackles. And they just go on about that. What about Fofana then, anyone?
Yeah, I would agree. Fofana was really good until he got injured.
Yeah, he was another player, one of the 4 million that West Ham went after in the summer and didn't get. And based on his performances so far this season, I'm kind of gutted that we didn't get him. I know things are going very well for West Ham at the moment, but he has looked a very good buy. So Dan, you're not a massive fan of Fred then, whereas Pete is.
Oh, don't get him started on Fred.
I just don't. I don't understand what he's supposed to be. I don't think he's a CDM. Because for me, a CDM has to be able to transition from defence to attack. And I don't know if you watched him against City, but he can't pass. He can't dribble with the ball. He's the most un-Brazilian Brazilian I've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I do think that. I mean, he's improved a lot since he came into the team. Since Ollie gave him that chance, because he obviously came in with quite a big reputation when you guys bought him. Was it Shakhtar Donetsk you bought him?
Shakhtar Donetsk.
Yeah, and he came in with quite a big reputation. He was tearing it up in the Champions League, and it's just not really happened for him at United. And he seems to have become this kind of different player.
Don't get me wrong, he's not an awful player. He's a good footballer. I just don't really feel like he fits the team. Like we need a Declan Rice type player or a Kante.
Hey, you keep away from Declan Rice. We'll have less of that.
Chris, I think you'll appreciate this one. Joe Roberts said Bamford.
Yeah, he's only saying that because he wants to get the 20 quid out of me for the goal record.
That's Shearer.
Yeah.
Shearer said Cardalo. I think Declan Rice has done a great job this year, but Luke Shaw has been fantastic.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I could have, as I said in the comment, I could have put money on Shearer saying Cavdarlo. And equally, I could have put money on Joe Morton saying Mason Mount as well.
Well,
I would agree with both of those, though. Especially Mason.
I would too. Yeah, no, I would agree.
And then Dan Hall said Phil Jones.
Stealing a living for 10 years at United.
Yeah, that's got to be appreciated. That as he's barely played any football for 10 years, and he's just putting his feet up, just having a lovely old time, isn't he?
Turned down a testimony as well.
A testimony or testimonial?
Testimonial, sorry.
Testimony. I was going to say, is he got to go to court? Is he?
And that is it for feedback this week.
Okay, right. Okay, well, let's get on to it then. Let's welcome in Ben to the show. Hello, Ben.
Hello, Chris. How are you?
I'm very well, sir. Very well. Welcome to the show. We gave you a shout out early in the season for your Lads to Dads podcast. But why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and the podcast and how it's all going?
Well, obviously, we touched bases a couple of months back. Both doing in the podcast scene. Me and my friend Matt, we host a podcast called Lads to Dads. Basically, it's the lifestyle of being a lad back in the day, going out, no responsibilities, to getting someone up the duff, having kids, and it all going fucking pear-shaped. But apart from that, everything's it's just a light-hearted comedy. We touch a lot on mental health as well, because I went through quite a bad patch regarding depression and some alcohol and some abuse and stuff like that, because depression took over my life for a bit. But that also came from, not speaking out, having a couple of kids, and just basically thinking everything was going to be all rosy, and it's turned out to be a right pain in the ass. So, yeah, me and Matt, we talked every day about all this sort of stuff, our struggles, and then we thought we'd always end the conversation on having a giggle about all our struggles. So we thought, why don't we put this into a podcast? Because surely we're not the only ones going through this. And we started going ahead with it, and people seem to be liking what we're doing. So, yeah. And then, obviously, you messaged us saying you're in a podcast, and we've turned our ears to your stuff, and we love what you guys do. And I'm very grateful for the opportunity to jump on your podcast, guys. Thank you for the opportunity.
No worries. So I've actually got a clip of the show, if you don't mind. It's about 2 minutes long. So yeah, I've obviously known you, Ben, for a long time. I know we haven't touched base for a long time, but we knew each other from college days. And this particular topic where you were talking about your ability to do an incredible whistle, just something I don't know why.
I'm fucking talented.
Yeah, it tickled me more because I remember you doing this sort of thing when we used to go to parties and stuff. So take a listen to this and see what you think.
Fireworks. I'd like to hear one. For everyone at home, that's Ben's famous whistle that anyone who sees him, who's not like a really close friend, but a friend who knows him from the pub or from, I don't know, any night out, will turn around and go, "Hey mate, do the whistle!" Right? Because he's got like the perfect firework whistle, as you can hear.
Well, I'm like a Swiss Army knife. I've got all areas covered. I remember in the club, when I was out with the boys, people would be like, "Where the fuck is Ben?" Like, I can't see him because I was always up chasing tail, And then they did the firework pop off because I used to stand by like a bunch of girls and then I'd firework thinking they'd go, "Oh, sleep with me." But they'd be like, "Oh, mate, my fucking ear. Can I get you a drink?"
Mate, that and any night out, because Ben's famous move during any night out is sprinkler. If you don't know what the sprinkler is, look it up. And he's always slightly taller than everyone else. So you'd see him like doing the sprinkler.
Giving it stacks.
Yeah. So imagine in the dark sometimes. If you've maybe seen the Office, Stephen Merchant, that's his name. So if you look at Stephen Merchant, but if he was in a really dark place,
are you saying I look like Stephen Merchant?
Tall, doing a sprinkler.
Mate, you've smashed my confidence there, because I actually thought I was fucking good at it. Now I know I look like a wobbly noodle.
He didn't really want to joke. No, it was Ben's thing during a night out. It would be the sprinkler and the firework, and I'll tell you what. If it didn't get him girls, it'd definitely get people flocking around him asking for an autograph. So,
or kicked out.
Yeah, or kicked out.
I remember once in Newquay, we were down, went to the first little lads trip at college. Me and about 8 others went down to a caravan site in Newquay.
Yeah.
All of us underage. And we're in the caravan site, drinking, like fucking getting pissed up. And I did the firework.
Yeah.
Security guards come running around, broke it, like opened our door and was like, "Where's the fireworks? You can't have fireworks." I was like, "We haven't got any fireworks." They like took our beers away and was like, "You're not having these back until you tell us where they are." And I was like, "Mate, it's me, I do it." And they're like, "Fuck off, get out of the way." I was like, "Mate, it's me." And he pushed me out the door. Yeah. I was like, "It's me." He goes, "Prove it." So I done it. And he went, "Fucking hell, that's loud, mate. Fair play." I was like, "Yeah, give me my Smirnoff Ice back."
Brings back some memories, Chris?
Oh man, back in the days, the old Chubby Beats parties down in Petersfield.
Mate, couldn't shut me up, could you? I thought, honestly, back in the days, girls loved it. But now, looking back, as a 31-year-old man, I was like, what a tragic person I must have been, whistling around in people's fucking ears.
Oh dear. Anyway, do go and give Last to Dance a listen. I believe you're on pretty much everywhere, right? You're everywhere where you can get your podcast from.
Yeah, we're on everywhere as well. And Matt's kindly, made a jump over to TikTok now. So that seems to be taking off as well. And it's just tragic watching two 31-year-olds in our 30s trying to do videos for everyone. But yeah, it's Matt decided to take that leap, and I'm sticking with him. And it's quite tragic.
Excellent. Right, let's get on to the real reason you're here, and that's to talk about your beloved Liverpool. Now we've gone from a crisis really to probably a full-on collapse now. And watching this game quite keenly, I was very, very keen to watch this show to get an idea of exactly how Liverpool would react to some of the negative stuff that's been going on. There's been rumours about Klopp leaving. And obviously, credit where credit's due, Fulham did play very well, and they sniffed a chance and went for it. But what did you make of the game? Because I just felt that Liverpool were just so devoid of ideas in this game.
I literally, the last couple of games, I've been thinking, something's going to click. We're going to be back. And then we won against Sheffield United. I thought, it's a win, and it's hopefully we push on from that. And all that's happened is we've just turned absolute shit. Literally, I was watching it the other day. I was when they played Fulham. And the second half come in, and I was just, my wife went out shopping and she came back. She's like, how are we getting on? I was like, because apparently she plays for Liverpool now. She's like, how are we getting on? And I was like, well, they could do with you up front, Em, because honestly, we're like I said to you the other day, Chris, I was like, we are just like the Liverpool of last season. If the Liverpool of last season had cerebral palsy, we're absolutely terrible at the moment. I'm not enjoying it. I don't know if it's confidence. I do think a big part of it is Jordan Henderson being out of the middle. Because I think not just like tactically wise, but he does just get everyone going, and he does break up play and lets the front three do the work. But with all these injuries we've had, I don't think it's been a very kind season to Liverpool. But still, we didn't buy anyone in the market really, apart from the Kabak bloke who, he's injured as well. So I don't know what's going on, mate, to be honest. I've heard all these rumours and I just think void the season, start again.
Yeah, I mean, 6 home defeats in a row now, and more poignantly, there's only been 1 goal scored by Liverpool in those 6 defeats at home. And I guess every team has a dip, and that the general consensus has always been that Liverpool at some point will turn the corner, they'll recover and end up back in the top 4. But right now, I mean, it's looking quite unlikely that you're even going to get into Europe at all at this rate.
Oh God, I literally, I don't know what to do, Chris. I've been trying to think about it at work. I've got my scrapbook out. I'm trying to get plays, get like tactics to send over the Klopp. I'm like, well, this is what Nigel Welch used to do at Way Valley. We'll sling the ball in, get me and Chris on the back. And now I'm thinking, oh fucking hell, we could do with me and you in the middle, just so get the boys up top. But I don't know. I'm not enjoying watching it at all. Sadio Mane is half the player he was at the beginning of the season. Like he's not performing at all. Firmino, don't get me wrong. Like I've stuck up from quite a lot. He's just not an out and out goal scorer. Like what you expect him to get maybe 15 goals a season. He's not that. I've watched him live a few times and he brings the game. He plays he's one of the better football players on the pitch. But it's no point in looking nice on the pitch, is it? You want to be getting results. Salah, he's a goal machine, greedy little bastard. But then apart from that, who else we got to score goals? We had Jota doing well. He got injured. No one else. No one else really bringing in anything else. So I don't see us any time soon, pouncing back straight away. I think we need the end of the season to regroup and buy some players, really.
Yeah. Dan, if I come to you quickly, what did you make of Fulham's performance yesterday and how they approached the game?
I think Fulham went into that game knowing full well they could get a result out of it. They didn't go in, like you'd expect them to against Liverpool, very cautious and sat back and hoping for a result. They went in there going for those 3 points.
Yeah, totally agree. And
it feels like at the moment that Liverpool are a side that are no longer feared at the moment. Like a year ago, maybe 6 months ago, any team that went up against Liverpool, you almost wrote the game off because you knew you weren't going to get anything. But now it feels like everybody's licking their lips thinking, Joe, we can get something here.
I think the top teams do go through those spells, especially even Arsenal and United. I think last season there were a lot of teams that went to United and sort of thought we can get 3 points here. And even this season, I think teams go to Arsenal and don't fear them. They go there knowing that they can get 3 points or at least a point like Burnley did. And I think Liverpool are going through that at the moment where teams are going there not in fear at all.
Crazy though, isn't it? Considering how much fear there was, 3 months ago?
Yeah. It's all it takes really, isn't it? Just a spell of bad form and Liverpool go from sort of heroes, no offence, Ben, but to zeros.
None taken. I think you hit the nail on the head though. Like last season, I used to just watch the games and be like, yeah, we'll score 6 or 7 today. And now it's like we've got Aston Villa, I think, next home game, and I'm thinking, how many are they going to score? They've already scored 7 passes this season. It's just fucking mental. I don't think I can handle it. I think I need therapy.
Do you think one of your front three will go in the summer?
Yeah, I do. I think I've seen, obviously, with when teams aren't performing, there's speculation. I do think Salah's going to go. And I also think there was a rumour about Firmino going at the beginning of the season, and I didn't want him to go. But there was a stat Jamie Carragher was telling about. It said, I think it was something like after 3 seasons, the front threes, the partnership up front only lasts about 2 to 3 seasons. And we're coming to the end of that. So I think maybe, I think the the management should be looking at that and thinking, well, we're not performing now. We need to maybe get rid and start fresh and, get some new players up there that can perform.
Yeah, and one player for Fulham that really impressed me against, granted a down on confidence Liverpool side was Ademola Lookman. Very, very positive in his play. Every time he got the ball, he was looking to go at Liverpool and take on, I think it was Nico Williams who started the game at right back for Liverpool as opposed to Trent. Yeah. Were you quite surprised, Ben, by the starting lineup? Because I think he made, 7 changes? He's played he played Nico Williams, dropped a lot of big names.
To be fair, last season, anyone said anything negative about Trent Alexander-Arnold, I was like, you just don't know anything about football. He's, I think, on record this season, he's done the most passes to the opposition in 2 games on the trot. And I generally think he might be playing out of position now. I think he wants to he can't defend for shit. He's just like a wet flannel, isn't he? You just get pushed off the ball, but he can whip a ball left, right, and centre. And I think the lack of confidence when they're trying to get more goals up there and it's just leaving holes. But I can't say I was surprised that they changed it up. But when I saw the team sheet and I saw Nico Williams and, I'm thinking this is a game we should be playing, the best team we can because we need to get confidence high and smash a team in. And Fulham coming to Anfield, I think we gave ourselves, wide open to not get 3 points there, really.
Yeah, sorry, go on, Dan.
It almost looked as if Klopp's putting all his eggs in one basket and going all out for the Champions League.
Yeah. Well, Liverpool have, the amount of times Liverpool fuck up in the league and we do well in Europe. I think that's what we're riding on. But I don't think if we had to play against a team like, I don't know, Juventus or whoever, we have got in the next round. I'm not too sure at the moment. I can't remember actually. We just get spanked. I can't see us going progressing at all at the moment.
So I think it's Red Bull Leipzig, I think, is the team you've got in the next round if memory serves.
We've got. Yeah, they're playing on Wednesday, aren't they? But we'll probably get finger banged there. So bring back Jay Spearing. That's what I say. I've seen some of the tackles that bloke's been doing recently. Mate, have you seen some of the tackles he's been doing recently? Christ.
Where is he at now?
He's what we need. Oh, I don't know. I just saw a video actually this morning, and I thought I better remember to mention Big Jay Spearing on your podcast because he just basically flew into someone. He basically would tackle like an ice cream van. He's mental, absolutely mental, mate.
Just on the point you mentioned there about Trent and how he's not been performing this year. Do you think that? Quite a lot of people in the footballing world do believe that Trent isn't the most quality defender, but obviously his prowess going forward is unquestionable. So do you think that having a fully fit Van Dijk last season in the form that he was in, do you think he was effectively bailing out Trent because he was always there to cover?
Well, I think having Virgil van Dijk, the Rolls Royce behind you, also gives you a lot of a confidence boost. And when you turn around, you've got Nat Phillips or fucking Reece Williams or fucking that's Quebec bloke who no one's even heard of. I wouldn't want to be pushing on. But having said that, we have been like massively low on confidence due to injuries. It's like Van Dijk's probably the best centre half in the world on his day. And when you lose that player in your team and any team, you're gonna be thinking about the back and thinking, "Fuck me, we've lost one of our best players." But yeah, I do think that's made. I think it's shown how bad a defender Trent Alexander actually is. In the big games, like you look at like Luke Shaw, and I hate Man United, but I watched Luke Shaw yesterday, and he was unbelievable. Like when Liverpool played Luke Shaw, he had Salah in his back pocket. He just muscled in with Salah, could defend, and then he can go forward. Like Trent Alexander on his day is, in my opinion, is better going forward than Luke Shaw, but he's nowhere near as good a defender. So, if you're playing in defence, I'm pretty sure the first thing you've got to be good at is defending.
I think that's with United. I think Liverpool have got the best attacking right back in the league, and I think United have got the best defensive right back in the league because defending wise, Wan-Bissaka is unbeatable, but he can't go forward, he can't dribble, and he can't cross the ball.
I don't know. He's the only Premiership football player I've seen dribble a football with his knees. But he could tackle anything, couldn't he? He's unbelievable in that respect.
So
reminds me of the younger Chris Well.
Well, what can I say? I've played in every position. Mastered them all. Fran, I didn't appreciate such a hysterical laugh there when I said that.
I've seen you play football.
You've seen the the guy who's gone past his prime. You didn't see prime Welch.
No,
Mate, when me and you were in the middle, Chrissy boy,
Yeah,
we were formidable.
that was a
We were
centre
like-
midfield partnership that we were feared. We were feared.
We were like Papa Boupa Diop and Momo Sissoko in the middle.
Who was
A couple of units.
Yeah, those were the days. That was when I could actually look down and actually see my gentleman's sausage and not my belly. Those were the days. So anyway, back to,
Gentleman's sausage. That's fucking disgusting.
back to the game
fair
swiftly. Just talk about Mane and Salah. God's gift to comedy punditry in Michael Owen stated that he felt that Mane was not going down to get a penalty. I think it was not the game just gone. I think it was the game against Chelsea where he had the opportunity to go down and probably would have got a penalty, but because he stayed on his feet, he didn't get one. And Michael Owen was saying that he knows that Salah would take the penalty and he doesn't like Salah, so he doesn't want him to get a goal. Personally, I think that's total bullshit and it's classic Michael Owen punditry, but there has always been this aura of friction between Mane and Salah about whether they actually like each other and, taking shots on rather than passing. Do you think there's anything in that? Do you think there is a beef going on between those two?
I do, yeah. I do, but I also, I think when you're Mohamed Salah, I think he's in the same sort of, not category, let's have it right, but the same mindset of like a Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a goal machine. Mm-hmm. You put him in front of goal, 9 times out of 10 he's going to score. He don't want to be sharing the glory. He's come back to the Premier League. He's won a Premier League medal. He wants to move on, but carry on and push on and build that sort of Ronaldo status because he is a goal machine. Don't get me wrong. Mane, on his day, I don't understand some of the goals that bloke scores. I'm thinking, how's he done that? And then some of the ones he misses, I'm honestly like, Jesus getting 120 grand a week. I could pop that in. Like he had a strike the other day against Fulham, and he just kicked the floor. I was like, mate, you just kick the round thing. Don't kick the floor. But I think that's the difference. I think there is friction between them two because Salah is scoring. Salah's still got quite a few goals this season, but Mane's not performing. So maybe he's looking for his teammate Salah to help him out a little bit. Maybe try and help get him on the score sheet. But Salah just wants to keep scoring. That's what he wants to do. I think it's that's what his goal is, to just keep scoring goals. Doesn't matter who doesn't like it.
Who do you think the better player of the two is, like on their best day?
Oh, that's a very good question. In my opinion, I think the better player, is Sadio Mane. What am I saying? I think Mohamed Salah on his day. But I think the person out of the two who would have a bigger impact would be Mane because he's quicker. I don't know who's quicker. They're both rapid, but Mane seems to be more of a luckier football player. I think a lot, he does come out of a collision with the ball, and also he can dribble past people left, right, and centre. But on their day, if Salah's hitting them right, 9 times out of 10 they go in. So I would probably say Salah.
Yeah. I would say Mane offers more as an overall team player. If you're just looking to have a player in your team that is purely there to score goals, then Salah all day long out of the two of them. Whereas if you're looking for somebody to link in with the team a bit more, to perhaps offer a little bit from a defensive point of view, then it has to be Mane. So, and I think that's what's always worked with Liverpool. When things were going well for Liverpool, when Firmino was, he was scoring goals. He wasn't scoring loads of goals, as we've alluded to, but he was doing some good things. That's why it kind of worked, because you can afford to have one passenger in your team. You can afford to have one player who doesn't really do a lot defensively. When you've got midfield with people like Fabinho and Jordan Henderson, when you've got Mane that will work up and down, as I say, you can afford to leave one player up and be lazy and cheat. But at the moment, it feels like there's a number of players who are cheating effectively for Liverpool. They're not performing. They don't look like they're putting their all into games, and it's costing Liverpool dearly at the moment.
Well, like you said, I think a lot of players are thinking that the season, we're not going to win it this season. The season's. I think a lot of them are going, we've had all the injuries, like looking for a way out sort of thing. But then some of them are still trying to pull their socks up and be like, you got the James Milners and, players like that want to just try and, turn it all around. But like you say, it's a team game. Everyone needs to be on the same page. And I don't think we've got that at Liverpool at the moment. I think there's a major inconsistency. And I think, like I said, that's where Jordan Henderson comes in. He gets everyone on the same boat. And I also think Klopp as well in his interviews, I don't know how many more, what else he can blame other things on. I think you just got to be, he's like, look, you just got to go, look, the boys are playing shit. I'm going to have a serious chat with them Monday morning. But he just seems to blame everyone else. And then they flew a banner over the other day. Did you see that?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, they flew a banner over Anfield that said, "Utony is," I don't know, I read it and I nearly threw up. I was like, this is awful. Fucking hell. It's like one of I was like, what, have we had a massive, have all the players died or something? Or are we just on a bad stroke of luck? Why are you sending banners over? I don't know. I think it's all gone pear-shaped, Chris, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
I'm not a happy boy.
I just wonder, with these rumours about Klopp, do you see him potentially leaving in the summer? These rumours about him taking over the Germany manager's position in the summer, they're not going away at the moment.
Mate, to be fair, I think if any other manager was at Liverpool, I think they'd be looking at getting a new manager in. But he's won us the Champions League. He's won, well, he's not won us, but he's made the team that's won us Champions League, won the Premier League. He's such a big personality factor. And it is, he is a great manager. But, when your eyes off the ball, that could be one of the reasons why Liverpool aren't performing, because, he doesn't seem to be getting the lads by the bollocks and going, right, what's going on? You need to be dropped. You need to be dropped. This needs to happen, because you didn't buy anyone in the transfer market apart from one defender. We've only scored one goal in how many games? But yeah, the rumours are there, aren't they? It's not, no one just, could be someone just made it up, but they're not going anywhere, are they?
No, exactly. And just finally on Liverpool, before we move on to the end of the show stuff, come this summer, do you see a big clear out happening, or do you think it would be rash, given that, the bulk of this Liverpool squad right now is the same squad that largely dominated English and European football over the last couple of years? So do you think it'd be rash to have a mass clear out, or do you think that a lot of fresh faces would actually be beneficial?
I don't know, Chris, to be honest. I'm just a gas engineer. I don't know what the fuck's going on, Chris. You should ask Klopp that. I'll run it by him on Monday, but no. I don't know. What I would do is you'd have to just have a serious think, wouldn't you? Going what sort of players? Because what I've known with Liverpool is they've got talent mixed in with like people who have bust a gut. But I also do feel that, the players that are busting the gut, we have been hindered with injuries, and we've got no one really who can back that up. We've got, Curtis Jones, talented bloke, got a lot of time for him. But he's not the sort of player that, you could see him rustling, 1-0 down at Old Trafford, someone going to start smashing people to get the ball back. He's more of a flary, make things happen sort of player. But yeah, I do think we probably need a good couple of signings. I think definitely more, backup, because like you said, last season we were formidable. So if you change too much, we might not ever get that peak back. But then again, Chris, like I said, I don't have a fucking clue, mate. So what do you think, Chris? You tell me.
Personally, I think I can see Salah leaving in the summer. I can see it happening.
Yeah.
Whether that's in the long run, whether that's a positive or a negative is very much open for debate. It obviously will depend on who you bring in to replace him. I think that there are a number of reasons, in my personal opinion, there's a number of reasons why Liverpool have struggled this year, and injuries are a big part of that. I don't think it's the only reason, but it is a big part of that. And any team, it will miss the sort of quality that Virgil van Dijk brings. You look at the difference he made when he came in. Liverpool they needed a centre-back, right? They needed a centre-back and a goalie. They got Alisson in goal. He's been, for the most part anyway, he's been brilliant. He has made mistakes, but for the most part, he's been very good. And when Van Dijk came in, he literally seemed to transform you overnight. So I don't think it's any surprise that when he's not in the team, things go to shit, because you look at how he improved them when he first came into the team. So I do think with Van Dijk back next season, and, Joe Gomez back and one or two fresh faces, I don't see any reason why Liverpool can't, hit the heights again next season. But this is a dire situation, and I think not being in Europe, or certainly not being in the Champions League, it could be a massive issue for Liverpool in attracting players.
Yeah, I agree. It reminds me of the time when I got injured at Way Valley and you guys couldn't win, and then I came back and we won with the Van Dijk thing. That's what it reminds me of, Chris. But I think you're spot on there, mate.
I think the difference between the likes of Liverpool and City is Liverpool have a great starting 11, but City have about 20 players that can easily walk into most teams' starting 11. Whereas, so when the City have injuries, they can quite easily call up someone else and they'll just slide right in. Whereas with Liverpool, they've got sort of 11 great players, and then you sort of on the likes of your Origis and stuff like that, which don't really cut the mustard.
How dare you? Divock Origi is God. He scored some couple of very important goals. My wife, she thinks his name's Derek. She's like, oh, Derek Origi. She thinks Jurgen Klopp's called Gordon, still Maiden. So every time football's on, I send her out now. But yeah, I do agree with you. I think Man City have got, their squad is, epic, isn't it? They can walk into any top 6 team and they'd be in the starting lineup. But I don't think Liverpool have that at all.
No. Right. Okay. Let's move on then to the team of the week. Dan, who went first last week? You have to remind me. I've slept since then.
I think it's you this week, mate.
Okay, right. So my team of the week, I've gone for Martinez in goal. This guy is what a purchase he's been. He's got to be one of the purchases of the season in the Premier League. He's been absolutely outstanding. The number of clean sheets that he's got, the number of important saves that he's made, he's just been brilliant for Aston Villa. In the defence, I've gone for Tete at right back from Fulham. Is it Jeremy or Jerome Lascelles? I can never remember. From Newcastle, and then another Fulham defender, I've gone for Anderson. I thought he was superb. And then Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw at left back was probably the easiest decision I've ever had to make in a team of the week on this occasion. And then midfield, I've gone for Bruno Fernandes. I did think that he had a good game. I know there's a lot of talk about whether he turns up in these big games, but I did think that he had a good game at the weekend. I've gone for Lamina from Fulham and Højbjerg from Spurs. And the front three was Gareth Bale, who again had another very good game, got a couple of goals. Harry Kane, superb again, and Ademola Lookman from Fulham. So yeah, a very heavy Fulham and Spurs side for me this week.
I'm very disappointed, Chris, actually, that we didn't talk about the Spurs game. I feel like they smashed it this week and there's nothing.
I apologise. We could talk about it off air if you like, Fran, if that'll make you feel better.
No.
So I've got no shame in saying I've gone for a few United players this week. I think we deserve it.
Yours is literally United, Spurs, Fulham.
Well, that's the only 3 teams that did well. So I've gone for Dean Henderson in goal. I don't think he's actually conceded a goal since he's replaced De Gea with him being on maternity leave. Paternity, sorry.
I was going to say, did he give birth, did he?
Same thing, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, he made some great saves against City. And if De Gea did leave, I think I'd be quite happy with Henderson filling in. So yeah, Luke Shaw, like you say, was an easy one. And Anderson, I think it was a block from Mane just before Mane would have probably scored, and so he sort of saved Fulham. He had a great game. Vestergaard for Southampton.
I think this is the first Southampton player we've had in the team of the week.
I think I've picked Vestergaard before
since I've been making them. I think.
Oh, right.
I think we may have had Vestergaard and maybe James Ward-Prowse before.
Yeah.
Ages ago, I think.
Yeah.
Anywho. Wan-Bissaka at right back. I think that's the first time I've picked him, to be fair. And my midfield, I've gone for Tielemans, who pretty much ran the show for Leicester. I don't know if you saw his assist for the goal.
That was an incredible pass, wasn't it?
Yeah. Lamina scored his first goal for Fulham. It was a really nice goal as well. Caught Salah sleeping. Højbjerg, he's another one of those players that's almost in my team every week. He's been great for Spurs. And I've gone for exactly the same front three: Bale, Lookman, and Kane. Can we
just talk about Harry Kane's first goal?
Yeah, that was a really nice goal.
Good Lord, that's beautiful.
Do you know what? I had to watch that twice when I saw it on the highlights because I didn't actually see where Kane was because I knew that he'd scored. I know it was, the highlight was going to show him scoring. And where the ball was and the kind of fairly slow build up, I just assumed that Harry Kane was in the box. Next thing I know, the ball is like flying into the top corner. I'm like, fucking hang on a minute. Where's Harry Kane at in this? So I had to watch it a second time to realize, holy shit, he's just, taking this early shot on from there and just bent it beautifully in the top corner.
You hit that first time as well when it's coming towards you. That's a difficult shot to hit.
What a great guy.
So, yeah, it was a fantastic goal from him. So, cool. Those are our team of the week. They'll be out on social media in the coming day or so. So do let us know if you agree, disagree, and if you disagree, who would you have in your team? Right, let's move on to this. Damn the stat, man.
Right. So, yeah, I said to Chris earlier I was going to do a Liverpool one, but I thought I'd save you from that then.
Cheers, mate.
So I've gone for an Arsenal one. Only one other player has reached 50 Premier League appearances for Arsenal at a younger age than Saka. Can you tell me who that was?
Theo Walcott.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It's not Theo Walcott.
Oh,
right.
Are we talking recent or are we talking a while ago?
Recent-ish.
I know who it is.
Yeah,
I recognise the name, if that's any help.
He's a sort of famous Arsenal player. I would say he's famous.
Is it going to be one of the ones you're going to say and we're going to kick ourselves?
I think so.
Not Van Persie?
No.
This is boding really well for the quiz later, isn't it, Ben?
He's played for a few big teams. One other Premier League.
I recognise him from another Premier League team.
I honestly can't think.
No, done me a treat here.
It is Cesc Fabregas.
Of course it is. Fucking knew it. I knew it.
Right then. So, Ben, are you ready for this? Have you been doing your homework?
Right, mate. Let's have it right. I was feeding your ego earlier. I'm shit at quizzes, so maybe you might win one this. And I hope you do because I've been listening to the last ones you've done, and you are terror. So I'll go easy on you.
All right, thanks, mate. Right, let's get into it.
Every week I forget the new theme tune.
Absolute tune, by the way.
I don't care if I lose. I just love hearing that tune.
Family Feud.
Tune, that is.
Welcome back to Family Fortunes.
That's a ringtone right there if I've ever heard one.
Right. Are we ready? Ben, have you got the general gist of the rules?
Hold on, let me just get my iPad up.
Okay.
No, yeah, I'm not going to cheat. I've listened to a few. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I'll let you crack on.
Okay, so the first player is Javi Alonso, and he has played for 5 teams.
Ben, 5 teams.
5 teams. Ben, as you're the guest, you can put in your bid first for how many teams you think you know.
3. 3 is probably the best I can do here.
All right.
You bastard. I'm pretty sure I've probably got the same 3 that Ben has.
Gonna risk it?
Go on then, Chris.
Well, I kind of have to, don't I? Because Ben's going to get the 3 unless he's proper mugging me off here.
Yeah, go on, Han. Risk it.
So I'm gonna risk it and say 4.
Okay.
Ben, you going 5?
Oh yeah.
No, I've only got 3. I don't know anymore.
Okay, right. So the 3 I know: Liverpool.
Yeah.
Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Real Madrid.
You bastard.
Now the 4th one. This is where it all gets a bit blurry. I think he has played for another Spanish team, and this is pretty much giving me a complete guess. So I'm going to go for Valencia.
No.
No, you silly bastard. Mate, I forgot you played for Bayern Munich. I had three. I had three ready. If I remembered Bayern Munich, I'd have done you.
Who
So
did
who
you
was your
have?
third then?
Real Sociedad.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
is that where you got him from when he came to Liverpool?
I don't know, mate. To be honest, I just
No,
sort of
he
remember
was on loan at Iber before that.
Oh, right.
Liverpool. But yeah, that's the teams. Well done. Ben, got a point.
Fucking get in.
I can see how this is going.
have a strong start, Chris.
Can you... I will never pronounce that name right.
I don't know
He's
what.
just
Where am I
said it.
Oh yeah, Papa Boopa Diop.
I always say it wrong. That's the next
So we're gonna
one.
do up.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's played for 8 teams.
Has he?
So,
Bloody hell.
Chris, how many do you think you can name?
He's dead now, isn't he?
Yeah.
He did, yeah. He passed away not long ago.
R.I.P. the wardrobe.
He was, yeah, the wardrobe. That's what he's affectionately known as. I can do a measly 3.
Out of 8? Bloody hell, Chris.
I might have 4. I'm not too sure on one of them.
Go for it.
Go on, risk it.
Well, obvious Fulham and Portsmouth,
Yep,
West Ham,
yep.
and my I think Birmingham. I can picture him in the Birmingham kit.
Yeah!
Oh,
Shut up! I've plucked that one out of the air.
Smashed
No, I
it.
don't know anymore.
No, that's fine.
Oh, right, decent. What about you, Chris? How you getting on, mate? It's all gone quiet over there.
I think I might just retire and become,
It's time
you
to
know,
get Annabelle to finish off his question.
yeah. I think I'm going to have to co-host with Fran from now on. I think I'm just going to let Dan do these.
So the other teams were, Birmingham, West Ham, AEK, Athens, Portsmouth, Fulham, Lens,
Yeah.
Grasshopper,
Yeah.
and what's that?
I'm looking.
The top one.
I'm not even going to try and read that one out.
No, Noosh
Neuchâtel
Neuchâtel
X-Max.
X-Max.
Bloody hell, who the hell are they?
God knows.
Right, well, 2-0.
That's game point already. My God.
Oh, is it first to 3?
Yeah.
Well, you may as well
Yeah.
sit down, Chris. I'll
It's
take this.
best of
I'll
3.
take this from here,
Best of
Chris.
5. Anyway.
Best of 5, sorry, yeah.
Read out all 5. But...
Right, the next player is Fabio Cannavaro, and he has played for 7 teams.
17.
Yeah, so
Oh, probably.
Ben, how many teams can you name?
Oh, 2 probably. It's a tricky one. I'm not really up for my
Syria.
Italian football.
That's fine, Chris. How many can you do?
I'll go 3.
2.
Oh, all right, go on then, Chris.
Well, can he
Ben,
beat?
can you do 4?
Can I? No, don't think I can. Let's make the game interesting, Chris. I might let you have this
I was
one.
going to say, to be fair, Ben, I wouldn't worry if you couldn't.
That's how much confidence we've got in
I was going to say, I would say your lack of confidence is annoying, but it's well placed, let's be honest.
Right, go on, Chris.
So, Real Madrid,
Yeah.
Inter Milan,
No.
please.
I think.
Fucking kidding.
Yeah, that is that one. International.
Oh, sorry.
I was going to say,
Thank God
I was
for
going to
that.
say them the only 2 I had.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Don't scare me like that, Fran.
It's because it's written down
You
as
know
an
what though?
international.
It was worth
Oh.
it for that reaction, Chris.
And my third one is a bit of a shot, but I'm going to go with Parma.
Yep.
Yeah, back in the game.
Cool.
Yeah, and the other ones were Napoli, Juventus, and
Another like fucking Saudi Arabian
Dubai.
team.
The ends in Dubai. So there we go. Right, 2-1. Next one is Javier Hernandez. He has played for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 teams. So, Chris, how many can you name?
Okay. I'll start with 4.
Ben?
I've got 4, I reckon, as well.
Can you go 5? Risk it? No.
God, I don't know. Do I? No, I don't think I can.
Okay. Chris, go on
I
then.
can only go 4. I don't know anymore.
Okay. Manchester United,
Yeah.
Real Madrid,
Yeah.
LA Galaxy,
Yeah.
and the 4th one. Oh, this is a bit of a stab. Oh, West Ham, of course.
I'm going to say, how
I
have
was
you not said
literally like,
West Ham?
how have you not-
I thought, for some reason in my head, I thought I'd already said them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, perfect.
Was he at Seville or Valencia?
Yeah, Sevilla.
Yeah, I knew that was why I didn't go 5 because I was like, I'm pretty sure it's one of them, but I don't know which one.
Oh, it was a
Chris, you brought it back.
game breaker.
I know.
I'm absolutely shitting it over here.
Well, because you're going to be the first person to lose to me on this quiz.
Mate, I couldn't lose to a nicer bloke.
Last one's a good one as well, in my opinion.
Oh.
Yeah, who was that? You want to say that name?
Yeah, Nicholas Anelka.
Oh,
So he has played
Nelka,
for
what?
1,
What a
2,
player.
3,
35 clubs.
Yeah, pretty much.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 clubs. So, Ben, how many can you name?
I reckon I could. 6, I reckon.
Nice.
Nice. Strong.
Oh, that's a really strong bid, you bastard.
Or am I bluffing, Chris?
I reckon I could probably do 5 or 6. Can I do? I don't think I can do 7. I think I'm gonna have to say name them, Ben.
Go on then,
So it's all
Ben.
yours, mate. It's yours to lose.
It's yours to win.
Fuck. Right. Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Oh, Arsenal, obviously.
Arsenal.
Arsenal, Real Madrid.
Yeah.
He was at Liverpool as well. Does that count?
Yeah.
Bolton, Chelsea,
Yeah.
Arsenal, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Bolton, Chelsea. Oh, what the fuck? Was it Man City?
Yeah.
Fucking get in there!
Yeah.
Oh.
Well played, sir.
done.
Well played.
Yeah, very well done.
So,
And Nelka's been everywhere, though, hasn't he?
Yes.
PSG, Arsenal, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Man City, Fenerbahce, Bolton Wanderers, Chelsea, Shanghai Shenhua,
Shanghai Shenhua, yeah.
Juventus, West Brom, Mumbai City.
West Brom. I forgot he was there. Fucking hell.
Well done, Ben.
Yeah.
Smashed it. Sorry.
Yes.
So just to clarify, did I win?
Oh, sorry, we've lost Ben. He's been cut off. No, well played, mate. Well played. Okay, at least I made it interesting this time, so I'm going in the right direction.
You're getting there, mate. Couple more goes, you might be all right.
Right. Well, Ben, thank you very much for coming on, mate. It's been an absolute giggle and a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me, mate. I've enjoyed it, and I'm glad I taught you a little lesson as well.
Oh dear, I'm not going to hear the end of this. You know, I said about we're meeting for a pint when all this lockdown stuff ends. I'm not sure I want to now.
I'll be outside your house tomorrow morning, mate. Don't you worry about that.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much again, Dan and Fran. We will speak to you next week.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.